Hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. To the headlines. The text modifying the law on the prevention and fight against money laundering and terrorism financing is adopted by the MPs to be in line with the conventions ratified by Algeria. The 44th anniversary of the death of the President Houari Boumediene is commemorated by a symposium during which his lofty career was put forward. In its first edition, the conference DZ brings together researchers, scholars, students and project leaders to debate the research sector in Algeria. The social turmoil in Morocco continues. Protests against arbitrary arrests, violations of human rights, corruption, and the normalization with the Zionist entity, the new routine for the Moroccan citizens. Good evening. Those were today's major headlines. First in our news, and we start with the parliamentary activity. The text modifying the law on the prevention and fight against money laundering and terrorism financing was adopted by the MPs. This took place during a plenary session chaired by the Speaker of the President of the National People's Assembly, Brahim Boughali, in the presence of the Minister of Justice, Abdelrashid Tabbi, and the Minister in charge of the relations with the Parliament, Besma Azwar. No less than 27 amendments were proposed by the MPs, 7 of which were selected. The text, which aims to adapt the judicial system to conventions ratified by Algeria, have 5 main axes and also define the administrative sanctions inflicted on financial enterprises as well as non-financial institutions and professions. On this occasion, the Speaker of the President of the National People's Assembly, Brahim Boughali, had this to say.
Today, we adopted a bill which makes it possible to fight corruption and protect the national economy. Its consequences are dramatic on all the sectors and citizens in general. We have therefore adopted this text modifying and completing the law for the prevention and fight against money laundering, one of the most dangerous financial crimes and which has unfortunately developed with technology in the fields of telecommunications and banking services, and that is linked to the phenomenon of financing terrorism, which has shaken the society stability, destroyed their foundations and components, and demolished their gains.
On the same occasion, the Justice Minister evoked the process of recovering the stolen money, stating that the operation is going on inside and outside of the country. I invite you to listen to him.
People who wonder about the 20 billions, a number that seems excessive to them, have they wondered about the colossal work and efforts deployed by men and women over the past 3 years? This is why I brought this register. 1,400 pages, which represent 3 years of work. 4,213 real estate seized by justice, 401 industrial properties, 229 perimeters of agricultural properties. And I am not talking about small lands, but lands of 5,000 to 15,000 hectares, 425 residential real estates and lands. The overall number of properties transferred is 23,774.
In another development, the Minister of Justice, Abdelrashid Tabbi, received on Monday his Turkish counterpart, Hassan Yilmaz. The two parties discussed the prospects of consolidating cooperation between the two countries in the fields of law and justice. On this occasion, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the Higher Institution of Justice and the Turkish Justice Academy, with the aim of exchanging expertise between the two bodies. In a different story, the Interior Minister, Ibrahim Murad, received on Tuesday the Secretary General of the Council of the Arab Interior Ministers, Mohammed bin Ali Kuman, who handed him an official invitation to attend the Council's 40th session, slated for the 1st of March in the Tunisian capital. Still in cooperation, the Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arqab, received the Mauritanian Minister of Employment and Professional Training, Mamadou Niang. The two parties discussed the expertise exchange in terms of professional training and help improve the level of Mauritanian officials in the sectors of energy and hydrocarbons through Sonatrach and Sonalgaz groups. Exporting the Algerian dates is a major source for hard currency outside the hydrocarbon sector. To this effect, important facilitations have been granted to the sector so as to diversify the national production, create wealth and job opportunities. Najah Tayyar reports.
About 76,000 tons of dates were exported during the first 9 months of the year 2021. Ranked among the top 5 dates producers in the world, Algeria was able to achieve a turnover of more than $80 billion in export operations, a fruit highly praised by customers. Today, the date industry has 400 operators who export to 74 countries, and a new strategy has been put in place by the Trade Ministry in order to support and assist date producers. Our company has been exporting dates since 2011. We export to 10 countries including Spain, Germany and France. We export no less than 1,000 tons of dates per year. Currently, there are a few obstacles that slow down the export operations, such as the unavailability of refrigeration containers. A remarkably increase in interest is granted to date industry. Exhibitions of date and its spin-offs export are organized by Algex agency throughout the national territory to promote this production and develop its export. The upcoming 2 years, 2023-2024, the government will achieve the goal of exporting to 150 countries. Currently, a whole specialized field is being created to date and also its derivatives. The date sector, placed at the top of agricultural products with a share exceeding 90%, deserves a particular attention since it remains an important source to create wealth and job opportunities.
A flashback now to one of Algeria's modern outstanding figures, namely Houari Boumediene, whose deeds and achievements topped the conference devoted to his lofty and brilliant career. Ines Kilou has a full story.
Houari Boumediene, the second president of the independent Algeria, the war veteran, and one of the most prominent politicians in Algeria's modern history. One of those who laid the foundations of the state institutions, served the country and the people, fought poverty and ignorance, nationalized wealth, and preserved the dignity of citizens throughout social justice. The symposium devoted to him was an opportunity to recall the pioneering experience of the deceased and to establish a culture of recognition among the rising generations.
Boumediene did not hesitate to respond to the call of the revolution and the country. He was a servant, teacher, leader, and a fighter until independence. He was honest and participated in the liberation of Algeria from colonialism with a patriotic spirit.
The late's path as president was presented to the audience, including that of the leader and visionary who always defended fair causes by making Algeria a destination for revolutionaries and free men. Today, 44 years after his death, the late President Boumediene's career remains a story passed from generation to another.
Président Boumediene, c'est un digne descendant de...
Boumediene is a worthy predecessor of Massinissa Yoghurtan Ibn Arabi bin Mehdi, who was his leader and head of the 5th Historical Department at that time. Today, we confirm that Algeria is on the same path.
On confirme que l'Algérie, elle est sur la même lancée et dans la même direction.
Houari Boumediene's deeds and personality were marked by the national memory and the new Algeria, led by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, before his approval of strengthening Algeria's institutions, preserving its achievements, and exercising its sovereignty in order to preserve its security and the dignity of its people.
In a related topic, a tribute was paid to the late President Houari Boumediene. On this occasion, the Minister of Mujahideen, Haider Biga, accompanied by the former's widow, laid a wreath of flowers on the grave of the late and read the opening chapter of the Holy Quran in his memory. And the first edition of the conference DZ took place on Tuesday, December the 27th at the Palace of the Culture here in Algiers in the presence of the Minister of Culture, Soraya Moulouji, the Minister of Startups, Yassine El-Mahdi Walid, the Minister of Post and Telecommunications, Karim Bibitriki, the advisor to the President of the Republic, as well as professionals. This initiative brought together researchers, scholars, students, and even project owners to debate the research sector in Algeria. More details with our own field reporter, Melissa Kovash.
The conference will act as a bridge between Algerian researchers and their motherland, and this to facilitate the exchange of information and expertise between them, students and professionals. The event witnessed a large participation from the four corners of the world and kicked off with keynote speeches made by the Minister of Startups, Yassine Walid, and the Minister of Culture and Arts, Soraya Moulouji, who held this initiative.
بداية يسعدني أن أرفع إلى السادة الأساتذة أسمى آيات العرفان والتقدير.
I would like to thank all the participants present here with us today within the framework of a scientific initiative, as well as the Algerian government in its efforts to boost the knowledge field through the establishment of universities and research centers.
The Minister of Startups then made a presentation related to the startup ecosystem in Algeria, highlighting the state support and facilitations granted to the micro-enterprises, including the tax resumption that is implemented for the benefit of startups for their first 5 years. Another new and good news indicated by the Minister Yassine Walid was the opening of a new world of possibilities for fine tax, pursuant to the new monetary law recently approved by the government. This decision will include digital marketing, Algerian digital dinar, and will help sell digital products.
Today is a big day. So we started the conference. So we call it the conference because it's going to be a new way of doing conferences in Algeria. The main objective is to build the bridge between Algerians, our diaspora, in everywhere in the world, so in the United States, in Europe, and the Algerians in Algeria.
I'm delighted to be here with all the our honorable researchers from all over the world. So today is the first edition of the conference, and our goal is to gather here our talents in many fields of research and development, artificial intelligence, big data, nanotechnology, and the goal is to see what we can do with our talents abroad and what we can do also as government officials to help them to do things in Algeria. Our goal also is to make it a place where our experts, our talents can share their knowledge with students that came from all over the country.
Artificial intelligence was at the heart of this forum, where professionals explained its importance in our daily lives.
I am AI, brought to life by NVIDIA, deep learning, and brilliant minds everywhere.
For their part, the participants present were very impressed and were glad to have the opportunity to exchange information with elites, especially that a Q&A session was opened at the end to respond to their questions and concerns.
I think that this conference is an amazing idea with brilliant minds from all over the world. Learning about AI was amazing. The information here was priceless from actual entrepreneurs.
I'm here today for this event, the conference 2022, and for the first day, which is about AI. I'm glad to be here because this is an amazing event. And when you're talking about AI is one of the vast and the fastest growing fields in the world of technology today. And it's always great to want to hear from great minds, people that have experience.
This first edition will hopefully not be the last, so as to boost our youth and help them discover the latest issues and advancements in the field of research.
Abroad, the corruption scandal in the European Parliament continues to be a hot topic. Lobbying is an ancient tradition of the Makhzen, according to the former UN envoy for Western Sahara, Francesco Bastagli, asserts that the Moroccan regime relies on a group of friends around the European Parliament for its account in return for amounts of money. Morocco has a long tradition of a very offensive presence, also in its bilateral relations with the UN. And Moroccans are determined to make their voices heard and to obtain their rights, which are violated by the Makhzen regime, a system that they consider to be unfair and keeps turning a deaf ear to their legitimate demands. Ines Killu once again.
Despite the repression and the Makhzen's desire to silence dissenting voices, demonstrations against political arrests, human rights violations, corruption and normalization with the Zionist entity continue in Morocco. In Meknes, a sit-in was organized during which demonstrators raised slogans denouncing the arrests and detention of bloggers, journalists and opinion prisoners, with groundless accusations meant to take revenge on any voice denouncing corruption and tyranny. The office of the Tanjit Tetuan and Hoceima region of the Moroccan Labor Union staged a demonstration against the decline of the purchasing power of Moroccan workers. On this occasion, the demonstrators denounced the continuous rise in the price of basic foodstuffs and fuel, as well as the government's inability to take measures to change the situation. In a statement, the Moroccan Labor Union denounced the non-compliance with its obligations contained in the Social Dialogue Agreement, while threatening to engage in new forms of protest in defense of the gains and legitimate demands of the working class. Widespread popular dissatisfaction at all levels, especially in the education sector, as the teachers of Cell 10 started a national strike on Saturday, coinciding with the organization of a job competition, and decided to boycott this exam, demanding their promotion after spending more than 14 years in teaching. Moroccans are experiencing unprecedented social and economic crisis. The protest movements are still ongoing. Moroccans say that they are firmly committed to their fight for dignity, condemning what they call as an act of a people whose most basic rights have been violated.
And with that, our today's news edition comes to an end. Thank you for watching and goodbye.